Hey everybody, and welcome to my plan with me for the week of April 22nd through the 28th. I am using this Birch and Birdee kit, which I don't know, I think she might still make kits, but I'm pretty sure they're a different format if she does. But this is wine themed, which I tried to do like a month of wine themed kits, but I just didn't have enough. But then it kind of worked out cool because my shop has a wine cork character, as you know, that's its thing. So yeah, it was just perfect timing. When I picked these kits, I had not had a set time in mind for when I was going to be opening, so it was just like fate or something, I don't know. And then for foil with this, I've got some burgundy foils. I've got some from Planner Hannah and some from Christian's Planner. So this is like an old format foil bundle when she had them all individual pieces. The underlays are Peggy, and then we've got the line box overlays, and then I do have some leftovers from a bundle by Christian's Planner, so I thought I would just pull those in as well. So I'll get right into the base now. I already put the month in. That is from a shop that's not open anymore though. The first thing I'm marking on the sidebar with Corky from my shop, but that is oops quality, so the colors are off, is that it is 2 weeks until my St. Louis trip, which I'm going to see a couple concerts with Sarah that week. And the next thing I'm marking is Tour of the Setting Sun, because that is the name of the Sum 41 tour that we went to this week. So first thing on Monday I marked is that I was feeling like shit. I woke up with a sore throat and body aches, which was definitely not a good sign because the concert was Wednesday. So I was a bit concerned, but I just did some journaling on my porch because it was nice weather this day. And then I did have a gummy because my pain just was not getting better. And I watched The Lincoln Lawyer. I don't think I started watching it this day. I'm pretty sure I started watching it, this night. But I watched the entire show pretty quickly. It is so good. I originally watched it because Neve Campbell is in it and I love her, but it's just a really solid show. I definitely recommend it if you like legal dramas of any kind. I just thought it was really well acted. The story was interesting, so yeah, it was good. And then the next thing I did was I took a nap because, I just wasn't feeling good. Then I ordered some groceries and I got up, helped my husband move some patio chairs around, and then I just went back to sleep. I took another nap. So, yeah. And that was like before dinner, which is why, it was still a nap. I didn't go to bed. But we did have dinner then, and we watched some Avatar: The Last Airbender. And then I didn't mark it, but I did just watch more of The Lincoln Lawyer this evening. I was just really taking it easy this day because knowing I had a concert coming up, I really wanted to make sure that I was doing everything possible to make sure I could go, because the reason it's called Tour of the Setting Sun is it is their farewell tour. They are not making any more music after this album that just came out, so I was like, I can't miss this. So I had to really rest up. The next morning I woke up kind of achy, but definitely better than the day before. I didn't mark that, but I just wanted to mention it. And then I cooked lunch for my husband and I, because he was getting ready to leave. So then I did have to say goodbye to him. He went on a work trip in Salt Lake City because that's where his office is based out. But he's just lucky enough that he gets to work fully remote. So he only has to go to Utah once a year instead of us having to move to Utah, which is really nice because that's super far from our family and friends. So I did some foil plotting once he left, and then I did run a few errands. I went to Target and Starbucks. I went to the post office, got gas, and then when I got back, I did have a glitter drink. I was trying to just make a fun little night for myself because at this point I hadn't spent a night in this house by myself. I've obviously been traveling and I've spent nights without him, but it's always been at other places. So it was just really weird to be here without him. So I watched Vanderpump Rules because he really doesn't like it. So I thought, I may as well catch up while he's gone. Then I had an anxiety attack, but it was to the point where I was just frozen. I couldn't move. And I was shaking and nauseous, and it was just a particularly bad one. I think just because I was freaked out about being alone. And then I did have a vinyl sesh once I was able to get up and do that. So I listened to my Sum 41 record, and then I listened to some more as well. I just didn't write those down. And then I finished the night by having a little bit of wine and watching Cougar Town, because if you've watched Cougar Town, they drink wine literally all the time, so it always makes me want wine when I watch it. So, yeah. And I think this was the first night I started watching it again. It was just kind of one of those things where I was like, I don't know what to watch, but it's something that I've watched before a couple times or maybe 3 times, so it's just kind of a comfort show for me. Some of the humor really didn't age well, so if you haven't seen it and you decide to watch it, just be aware of that. But yeah, it's just nostalgic for me, so I really enjoy it. But the next morning, I Did sleep in because Sarah worked that day. I kind of just like hung out. I did go and get my allergy shots. I did some journaling. I hung out on the porch with the dogs. And then I did drive us to St. Louis. So I meant to put this the other way. The venue was the Factory, which I think this was my first show at the Factory. I've since been back, but it's a really cool place. It's an old like spaghetti factory, which is a restaurant. So it's like renovated and it looks pretty nice and new still. I don't know how long ago it became a concert venue, but it's, you know, it's not beaten up like some of the older ones. So that was really cool to see a new venue, and I just really like the decor there. They've got, you know, a lot of different music themed things, and the first thing we did was, of course, buy merch. So I had gone on Reddit and already decided what I was going to buy beforehand, which made it pretty easy to just get through merch. Then we got a pretty good spot. We were on the left side of the stage, so not front and center, but we were second row, so we had a really good view. And where Sarah was, she could see the lead singer. I couldn't from my viewpoint until she like, I don't know, she like moved and was like, hey, you can see him this, like, if you're over here. So we kind of like switched for a little bit, but I could see most of the band from where I was. It was just because there was a little bit of a thing out from the stage instead of it all just being like this. There was like a little thing coming out of it and he was standing on here. I don't know if that makes sense, but I'm not finding the right words to describe it. It was such a fun show. So we had a couple openers. There was Joey Valence and Bray. I'm not 100% sure if that's how you say it or if it's Valence. It was like a good vibe to start the concert. And then there were the Interrupters, which was not necessarily my type of music so much, but it wasn't bad. It was not something I felt like I was going to go look up and listen to later. So you never know with openers. Then Sum 41 came on and they put on just a phenomenal show. I had seen them once before back in Kansas City when they were touring with Simple Plan, but Sarah had never seen them. So it was really good time like to go with her and just to see them one more time before. But yeah, they just did a good job of like keeping the energy up and everything, and just the set list was great. I'm so sad that they are not going to be like making music or touring anymore because it was just so much fun. But yeah, they said something about, or Derek, the lead singer, said something about like it being their last tour and everybody booed. And he was like, come on, guys, it's been like 30 years. And we're just like, and? But yeah, I guess I want to say they started in 1996, if I remember correctly. I got a shirt that says it, so I should know. But yeah, they've definitely been doing this for a long time. However, that doesn't mean, you know, fans want them to stop. I get it, but it's still sad. So yeah, it was just such a fun time. And being in the pit when they do have like confetti cannons and stuff is always really fun. They had like pyrotechnics, so they had this big skeleton behind them on stage, and it was flipping you off with one of the hands, but the other hand I didn't realize was holding up 4 fingers. I felt really silly afterwards when I realized this. It was 41. It was just, you know, like one hand was 4 fingers and one hand was 1. So yeah, I felt, I was like, okay, wow, Laurel, you did not realize that. But yeah, that was really cool. And I got some cool pictures of like the flames behind the skeleton. It looks like there's flames on its head, which was just a really cool accident because I definitely didn't think it was going to be like that. I just wanted to get a picture of the fire. So because it was such an amazing show, I was like singing and screaming basically the entire time Sum 41 was on. So I ended up with no voice after the concert. And when I say no voice, like I literally mean at certain pitches, like the tone of voice I usually talk to my dogs in, I literally could not talk. Like nothing was coming out. And what I could say was just very like raspy and stuff. So I did drive us home back to my house because of course my dogs were there. My husband was not. So came back and then we had a little jam sesh, listened to a record before going to bed. The next day, I was supposed to have a vet appointment, but I decided to reschedule it because I knew I was going to be exhausted, and I also didn't want to make Sarah, like, help me with the dogs. She was willing to, but they're just a hassle, so I rescheduled it. So instead, we went to Olive Garden this day, and then we got Starbucks, went to Barnes & Noble to shop for records, and of course ended up bringing some home. Also, I did want to mention, I'm sorry if the camera is shaky. I don't know what exactly is happening. My table is a little bit wobbly, but my husband did like do as much as he could to fix that, and then I don't know, just anytime I move my camera mount, it kind of messes with it, I think. So once I said goodbye to Sarah because we were down south of where I live, which it's on the way to get home for her. So she just went ahead and went home. I hung out with my dogs on the porch once I got back because they like being out there, and I think it must have been nice weather again. We actually did kind of have a spring this year, which is pretty cool. Because I probably have mentioned it before, but it usually doesn't happen. We usually kind of just go from winter to summer with maybe a couple nice days. So hung out with them, and then I watched The Valley and watched What Happens Live because I had missed them. Just because I was so anxious on Tuesday night, I just didn't feel like I could watch them live. So wanted to catch up on those before my husband got home. And then I did like have dinner and cuddle Link, but I didn't mark that. So the next thing you marked is that I watched American Horror Story. I don't know if it was the season finale. It might have been, but there were some new episodes up at this point. And then I watched Vanderpump Villa because I realized that had come out. It comes out on Mondays and I kind of forget about it. But yeah, I did that, and then there was just some like BS going on that I texted Carly about. Then I ended the night by watching The Lincoln Lawyer, so lots of TV this day, but I am really like physically exhausted when I get back from concerts, which I feel like is understandable because not only do I drive like 3 hours in one day round trip, but also just concerts are exhausting, so it's just a lot. So on Thursday, my husband was supposed to get home this night. I mean, it technically was going to be like 2 a.m., so that would have been Friday technically, but his flight kept getting delayed repeatedly, And eventually I was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to bed because I was going to stay up and, it wasn't like 2 a.m. I could have easily stayed up until then, but the later it seemed to be getting, I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to stay up until like 4 a.m. or whatever it is. So he ended up getting here at 5 a.m. on Friday morning because, poor guy. By the time he got in from his flight at St. Louis, he had to drive home, which, like I mentioned, it's an hour and a half. So, yeah, that just really sucked. Like, had he known, I'm sure he would have chosen to just fly out Friday morning, but he had no way of knowing. So, he got home and I was like kind of awake, but not really. I like said hi and the dogs kind of freaked out and then I fell like asleep. And then when we did wake up for the day, we cuddled. It was just really nice to have him back. And then I did some more like kit and foil plotting this day. I think this might have been the day that I took my stuff into the living room and just like laid it out on the floor because I was doing a ton of it. But I was also watching The Lincoln Lawyer this day and I did finish it this day. So sad it's over. I feel like there might be another season coming, but I've watched so many shows that like are not finished yet that I'm not 100% sure if there is. But after that, I had pizza for dinner with my husband and we watched Avatar: The Last Airbender. I had a gummy again because I must have not been feeling good. Watched some more Cougar Town and I took a nap on the recliner. I know it was the last thing I marked this day, but I do consider them naps still when I nap downstairs because I have to like wake up and go upstairs to go to bed. But yeah, I was just exhausted this day, burnt out from all of it. Then on Saturday, I slept way in. I'm not 100% sure if my husband did too, but I mean, like, I'm talking 11:40, like almost noon, which is crazy. I do not sleep that late usually, but I guess I needed it. Once I woke up and like had lunch and everything, I worked on booking places to stay for the summer because Sarah and I are going on a trip to Kansas City and then we're coming to St. Louis for a day and a night. So I needed to get that all lined up because we didn't have any lodging. So I got us Airbnbs that day. And then I think I also got us a hotel for our little 2-day St. Louis trip as well because we had 2 back-to-back concerts and there was no way I was driving home and back for both of those. Well, I didn't do it for either of those. I drove us there. Yeah, I'll talk about that next week. We needed a place to stay. So that took me a good chunk of time because I wanted to get somewhere affordable, but it's hard to get somewhere affordable that's not like crappy. So, and apparently hotels are charging like a bunch more because I was looking on Expedia and it would be like, oh, it's $100 a night or something like that. And then there was like a $200 cleaning fee or something. Like that's something I expect from Airbnb, not from hotels. Usually it's just built into the price, but yeah, apparently not always. So that was annoying. So I did just want to stop to mention that like all these little corks are from, oh, you can't see that one, are from my shop, Corks and Corgs Co., which I do have linked down below. And then that's also my Instagram handle. All of the stickers that I use in my planner are Oops quality. I just don't want to waste them, so I use the Oops ones. But after booking everything, I did some editing. I edited a haul clip, and then I formatted some sticker sheets, which definitely took me a while because I was doing just a bunch of them at once. And I'm definitely more efficient at doing it now, but it's still just time consuming. So I did that, and then I got some happy mail this day. I didn't say what kind it was in my notes, so I don't know if it was stickers or records or both, but yeah, some kind of happy mail. And then there's this freaking beetle. So if bugs freak you out, maybe skip ahead like 30 seconds or so. But there was a beetle that got in. They're not like harmful or anything. They just like fly into stuff until they die, which is like, yeah. So I guess they're dumb. But anyway, I had made my husband kill one the other night because it got inside and it was freaking me out. But for some reason, I was like, well, the fly swatter's right here. I'll just go ahead and take care of it myself. And I regretted that because I smacked it. It kept flying. I smacked it harder and it went flying like I launched it or something and almost hit me. And then it fell on the ground and it was still somehow alive. So then I tried to kill it like with the fly swatter on it and like a shoe, and it was still alive. And until I did that a second time, it didn't die. But I was like legitimately shaking after that. Like it was just, I tried to be like, it's fine, bugs don't freak me out, but that was extremely stressful. So yeah, so wrecked it as Demon Beetle. Anyway, I started watching Dead Boy Detectives this evening, and another really good show. I've been watching a lot of good shows lately, just picking them randomly and having good luck. So yeah, it's obviously creepy because, it's called Dead Boy Detectives, but it's not like horror or anything. It's just ghosts who are detectives, essentially. It's a quick, interesting watch because there's only one season of it. I don't know that there's any more coming, but I definitely enjoyed it, and I would be excited if there was. And then I ended the night by planning. So on Sunday, I just woke up exhausted. I don't know. I guess that's the theme of this week, apparently. I was really tired. So I'm not really supposed to have caffeine, but I made myself a chai and had some breakfast with my husband. And then we did go to Lowe's. We had a bunch of stuff we needed to pick up. Just like flowers, stuff to garden with. I don't even remember what all. We got a hummingbird feeder. We needed some like plumbing parts for our water spigots, but we didn't end up like finding what we needed. But yeah, I don't know, just various house things. So then after that, we went to a place called Rock and Roll Sushi, which was so fun. They apparently do have them in different cities. So if you do have one where you're at, I can't speak for if they're all cool, but the one here was really cool. It's kind of set up like a concert venue atmosphere, and that was just so great because obviously I love concerts and I really love sushi too. So the food was good, the atmosphere was good. I will definitely be going back. And they had the like rock on, I feel like that's really close up and awkward, hand symbol as a logo, but then there were chopsticks with it instead of drumsticks, which I thought was really clever. So yeah, I took a bunch of pictures in there of like the place because I just thought it looked cool. But after that, we just kind of looked and saw like what pool stuff we had, kind of tried to figure out what we were going to need to do to get our pool open, which was a lot because, yeah, the people we bought the house from just kind of like put the tarp over it, but the tarp wasn't a really great tarp, so there were holes in it. Oh, this doesn't fit. After looking at the pool, I did some of the dishes. I hand washed the stuff that can't be dishwashed, and then I also ran the dishwasher. While I was doing that, while I was like doing dishes stuff, I ended up just having a really, really sharp, awful pain, which felt like an endo flare. So that was really crappy because I was like, I'm just, you know, doing normal adult things, and my body's like, ha. So because of that, I then decided to just veg on the couch. I watched some TV and had Taco Bell, but I didn't mark that. But I did finally listen to the Tortured Poets Department vinyl again this evening because I'd just been avoiding the album because there's so many songs on it that I can't listen to because they just make me feel unwell mentally. And so what I did was a combination of something that someone said on TikTok and just my own idea. So they said, listen to the album and pick the songs that you can listen to and just make the Tortured Poets Department like your version, which I was like, okay, that's a really smart idea. So I was intending to do that. And then I was like, you know what? It would be cool if I could journal while I was listening to it, because then I can kind of figure out, okay, why is this song so hard for me? Because some of them I just didn't know why. I just knew that they were not making me feel good. And it was a lot easier to sit down and figure that out when I was writing out, like, this is what this song is bringing up for me emotionally. So yeah, that was a really good exercise. I don't know what to call it. It was really helpful for me. And this night I just did what was on the vinyl, which there's of course a whole nother basically album of it that is not on the vinyl, but I felt like that was sufficient for the evening. I didn't want to like overload myself. So for the album, in case you are curious, I will just go over the songs that I can personally listen to from the first half. And I believe a couple of these have changed since I initially made my list, because I did kind of go back and look at why songs were hard and then re-listen to a couple of them. But at this point in time, my songs from the first half I can listen to are Down Bad, So Long London, But Daddy I Love Him, Florida, which I love that song. I love Florence and the Machine. Guilty as Sin, I Can Fix Him, No Really I Can, I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. Again, that's one I really love. The Alchemy, and Clara Bow. So I was definitely planning on talking about the album, but it just became a much harder thing than I had expected. So that's why I have not talked about it in full in a plan with me, even though I did mention some stuff about it the week it came out. But I will talk more about it in the video where I listened to the second half. I am really surprised that I was able to make the labels work in this kit. I did cut up checklists, which was a lifesaver, but you know, I had enough labels to mark everything, so I'm happy about it. But if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.